Hello, sunshines. It's Tuesday. Here for your daily lesson. And here is baby D feeding the dogs. This is my nephew. Isn't he cute? With Sophia, Winston, and that's Piper, my baby. And he is currently giving them fishies. Say hi, D. Say hi. We're also watching Frozen. So, yesterday's lesson was on triangles. And guess what today's lesson's on? More triangles. I apologize, my hair hasn't been brushed today, but it's what it is. All right, so we went over triangle sum and exterior angle theorem yesterday. So as a quick refresher, okay, all the angles in a triangle, angle A, measure of angle B, and measure of C, all add to equal what degree? Yes, you are right, Maddie. It is 180. Sorry, old habits in the classroom. She was the first to answer usually. All right, exterior angle. The measure of our outside angle is the sum of our two interior angles. So that means measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3. So if we were working on a problem, let's go with this one right here because these two are in your exit ticket for today. Okay, and I was trying to solve for the missing angle here. Our outside angle, 104, equals the sum of our two interior. Instead of a 1, I'm just going to put an x there. Equals 79 plus x. Any like terms to combine on either side? Nope. Nope. So all we got to do is move the 79 over. So 104, take away 79. I'm going to use my trusty dusty calculator. It is a little bit dirty. We should probably clean it. To get 25. Oh wait, did I put this one in the exit ticket? That one is, so I have to put the other one in. That's fine. All right, and then let's do a little harder one. For angle sum. Ooh, this one here looks good. Your daddy's at work, it's fine. Okay, go watch Aunt Elsa. He's a 2-year-old, I'm sorry guys. Okay, so angle sum, we've got the measure of angle Q is 4x minus 22. Measure of angle P is 10x minus 4. And measure of R is x plus 11. Do you want a cookie? Okay. Okay, you guys try and set that up. I'm gonna leave this guy, well, pause it right here. You're on your own. Do it while I grab a cookie for the child. There you go. Okay, so we're gonna set this problem up. I like to stack them, so I got 4x minus 22 and 10x minus 4 and x plus 11 because I'm gonna add them together. So 4x plus 10x plus 1x, that's 15 x's. All right, so negative 22, take away 4 is negative 26, and then we're gonna add 11 to it. And we should get negative 15. I'm going to check myself on that one. Yep, negative 15. So all those angles are added together, and the sum of all of our angles should be 180 degrees. All right, so I'll add the 15 over first because I want to get rid of the constants. So we've got 15. X equals 195 divided by 15 and 195 divided by 15 equals, yep, it's 13. Okay, so hopefully you guys did the IXL problems like that yesterday. If you did not, you better get on it because I will be checking those. Dun, dun, dun. Today, we're gonna add 2 more types of triangles we're gonna look at. We're gonna look at isosceles triangles and equilateral triangles. Okay? 2 different types. Isosceles triangles have 2 congruent sides and they have 2 congruent angles. Okay, so let's look at these notes over here. Okay, so parts of an isosceles triangle. Okay, it has 2 congruent sides. They're referred to as the legs. So right here, this marking here and this marking here, because they have the same marking, they have the same measure. So those are the legs. They're the congruent parts. Okay, it has an angle, okay, where the sides intersect, those legs intersect. It's called the vertex angle. So B right here is called the vertex angle. Okay, he's always between your congruent legs. And we have our base angles. The base angles will have the same exact measure, okay, because this is congruent and so is that. Hi, DD. Okay, so always 2 congruent angles, 2 congruent sides. One angle is the oddball and one side across from it is the oddball. So if we know 2 sides are congruent, then we know the base angles are congruent. So if BA, that segment, is congruent, that's what that sign means, to BC, then we can say for a fact that the measure of angle A is congruent to the measure of angle C. Okay? I could also write angle 2 and 3, but I like the A and the C. All right? And if the reverse of that we can say the other is true. So if we know the measure of angle A is congruent to the measure of angle C, then we can say that BA is congruent to BC. Okay? And sometimes your triangle might be wonky and turned, so like that or like that. You just got to be able to identify which ones are congruent. Okay, so the angles that touch, okay, the 2 congruent sides are going to be congruent, and there's the angle between the 2 congruent sides will not. So let's do a couple problems together. So right here, we want to find each missing angle measure. All right, so we've got 2 congruent sides, okay? So K, because between them is the vertex angle. He's the oddball. So we'll save him for last. That means the measure of angle L and the measure of angle J are congruent because those are the base angles. So measure of angle J should be 68 degrees. Okay, now we've got 2 angles of our triangle, and how do we find the third missing one? Well, how many degrees in a triangle? That's right, there's 180. Okay, so we could take 180 and subtract our 68 degrees, both of them, and that should give us the measure of angle K. So I'm going to take my calculator, do my 180, take away 68, take away 68. Okay, and what do we get? 44 degrees for measure of K. All right, let's do the next one. So number 2, we're trying to find measure of angle C and E. So let's first identify what the vertex angle is, the oddball. Okay, my 2 congruent sides are here, so the angle between them is going to be the oddball. That's D. Okay, so we got to find C and E are going to be the congruent angles. So they're going to have the same exact measure. All right, now thinking about this angle plus this one should be 180. So if I take 180 and subtract my 106, I'm going to do that in the calculator. I believe it should be 74. Yep, 74. Okay, so that means that there's 74 degrees divided equally between the two of these. So I could take 74 and divide it by 2. So that means that this angle must be 37 degrees and this one 37 degrees as well. Okay, but we have to be equal, oddball out. All right, the next one. He's a little different. So it wants us to find the measure of angle y. So that's that guy. And we already have these two right here. So all the angles in a triangle add to how many degrees? That's right again, 180. So we're going to take 180 and subtract our 77 degrees. So let's see, 180 minus 77 minus 77 to get, what's that? 26. There you go, dude. Okay. Now, this right here wants to know what YZ is. Well, Y to Z, that's a length. So we're going to try and find him, and I'm going to write it in as X. Now, this triangle, because we have the two base angles that are the same measure, we can say this is an isosceles triangle because those base angles are the same. That means that we have two congruent sides. All right, this guy's our vertex, so on either side, they must be congruent, which means they have the same size, same shape, same measure. All done? Okay, 1 second. So if this side is congruent to this side, what should be the length of YZ? That's right, 12 centimeters. Pause. The dog's crazy. Hey! That's not okay. Go ahead. Okay. Must be 12 centimeters because it's an isosceles triangle. Now let's look down here. This one, we've got some more algebra going on in. We got x's as well. So this triangle got two congruent sides, which means it's an isosceles. The vertex angle is going to be the angle connecting them. So that's our vertex angle. So what do we know about those two angles at the bottom? Our 5x plus 9 and our 8x minus 30. Yeah, they're congruent. They're going to have the same measure. So if we know they have the same measure, we can set their measures equal. 5x plus 9 equals 8x minus 30. And we got a nice little equation to solve. So I like to move the smaller x over, so I'm going to subtract the 5x. And since this guy's gone on this side, he has to stay there, so we got to move the negative 30 over by adding 30 to both sides. So those cancel out. So we've got 39 equals 3x. We'll divide by 3 on both sides to get that x equals 13. Okay, I want you guys to go ahead and pause the video and you try number 5. Yeah, I'm serious. Pause it. Find your answer. You can do it. I believe in you. So, hopefully you guys have found the answer. This one is very much the same. So we've got our congruent sides, our vertex angle here. So these two angles are congruent, and we can set them equal to each other. 4x plus 7 equals 9x minus 33. Subtract the 4x over, add the 33 over. So 7 sorry. 7 plus 33 is going to give us 40 equals 5x. Divide by 5. X is going to equal 8 here. All right, and then we'll go down to these two problems. So these guys right here are sides, not the same as angles. So do not confuse sides. Sides never have 180 with them. Okay, so we've got two congruent angles, which means we're dealing with what kind of triangle? Isosceles. That is correct. So since these two angles are congruent, our vertex angle is here, which means these two sides touching the vertex angle are congruent. So we can set them equal to each other and solve. So 15x plus 7 equals 23x minus 17. Okay, subtract the 15x over. Okay, that 7's got to stay, so we'll add the 17 over. Okay, 7 plus 17 is going to give us 24. And 23 minus 15 is going to give us 8x. Divide the 8 over, and we get x equals 3. Okay, so this is our isosceles. Now I'm going to turn to equilaterals. Equilateral triangles, okay, are exactly how they sound, equal. All right, what that means is that all the angles are congruent and all the sides are congruent. Okay, so if all the angles are congruent, then they have to be what measure? Because they have to be the same exact degree each. Okay, if 180 is our total degrees per triangle, and we've got 3 congruent angles, that means they all are 60 degrees. Okay, so all the sides must be congruent as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and just work on these problems right here. So we have 2 measures of these angles. They're both 60. Okay, the third angle must be how many degrees then? So 180, take away 60, leaves us with just 60 degrees. So since all 3 of these angles are the same, what does that mean about each of our sides? Well, if we have all equal angles, then we must have all equal sides. So what is the length of BC going to be? Well, AB is 9 feet, so that means BC must be 9 feet, and AC as well. So 9 feet, 9 feet. Okay, let's look at 12. 12, it has marked in that we have 3 congruent sides. So what kind of triangle are we dealing with? Equilateral. So we want to know the measure of each of our 3 angles. Well, if we have an equilateral triangle, all 3 angles are going to be congruent. And they'll be what degree? That's right, 60 across the border. And now for you guys, what should the length of K to L be? 24. That is correct. Good job. All right, next problem. 13 states that if triangle PQR is an equilateral triangle, solve for x and y. So if it's an equilateral triangle, that means that each of our sides are congruent and each angle is congruent as well. So do we want to solve for x or y first? Yeah, let's go x. I like going alphabetical order. So x right here has to deal with this angle r. Okay, and what do we know about each angle in an equilateral triangle? Well, each angle equals 60 degrees. So that means if the measure of angle r is 7x minus 3, it's equal to 60. All right, so we got our equations set up. Because we know they're equivalent, let's go ahead and solve. So we want to add 3 to both sides. So we've got 60 plus 3 is 63, and that equals 7x. Divide by 7, and what should x equal? That's right, it's 9. All right, so we've solved for x, so we can put check by him. And we want to solve for y. Well, let's look at what's going on with the y's. We've got our side lengths have y's in them. So for this one, you have lots of options on how to solve it. All I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 2 sides. Let's go with these 2. Because the sides are congruent, we know their measures are equivalent. So we can set up an equation. I'm going to say 11y minus 23 equals 9y plus 1. You guys could do 14y minus 89 equals this one. You could do this one equals that one, or any of them, as long as you have 2 sides equal to each other. So I'm going to solve my equation right here. If I chose one of the other 2 or other ones, options, I would still get the same exact answer. So I want to move the smaller y. And because I moved that, the 1's got to stay, so we'll add 23 over. So 11y, take away 9y, leaves us with 2y. 1 plus 23 is 24. So we should divide by 2, and y should equal 12. Okay? Let's do one more example where we're doing angles and one more where we're doing sides. So I'm going to flip the page. All right, let's see. Let's do this one right here. So in number 9, we've got 60 and 60. Well, those 2 angles are the same. What should the third angle be? That's right, it's also 60. So what kind of triangle is this right here? All 3 angles the same. That means we have an equilateral. Okay, so what does that mean about all sides? Yep, they're congruent. So if I'm solving for x, what should I do with our 2 sides? They're congruent, so their measures are equivalent. We should definitely set them next to each other. All right, so I set up my equation. I'm going to move the smaller x over. And so that means the 19's got to stay, so I'll add 89. So let's see, 19 plus 89 equals 108. And we've got 11 minus 7 equals 4x. Divide by 4. X equals 27. Okay, and then we'll do one more problem. Sides, let's do one with angles. Let's do 8. So 8, we've got this triangle here. And what kind of triangle is this? That's right, it's an equilateral. Can I help you, Winston? Okay. So this arrow is pointing to our angle here, and because all 3 sides are the same, all 3 angles are the same measure. And what should each of these angles measure equal? 180 divided by 3. That's right, it should be 60 degrees. So we have 60 equals our 4x plus 8. We'll subtract the 8 over, and we've got 52 equals 4x. And our last step should be to do what? Divide by 4, that's right. And we get x equals 13. Okay, so we've got 4 triangle properties so far. 1, all angles. Pipe thinks is really important. All Piper, chill. All angles of a triangle add to equal 180 degrees. When we have an outside angle, our exterior is the sum of the 2 non-adjacent interior angles. Equilateral triangles have 3 congruent sides and 3 congruent angles. Because their angles are congruent, they each measure to be 60 degrees. Isosceles triangles have 2 congruent sides and 2 congruent angles. So we can find the missing third angle, or we can find our 2 congruent angles easily. Tomorrow, we're gonna have a lesson on something called a mid-segment. Dun, dun, dun. I have attached a exit ticket that you guys are gonna do right after you listen to this, okay? It's for a grade, but you won't see a grade, and there are some open-ended responses. So try your best. I just wanna see what you learned from today and what else we could do to help you guys learn. See you tomorrow. Bye.